In this video, I'm going to show you how to slice a file for Lulzbot TAS6 using Cura Lulzbot Edition. The first thing that you're going to need to do is go to this URL, which you'll be able to find in the description, and click this download button to download Cura Lulzbot Edition. I've already downloaded Cura Lulzbot Edition, so I'm just going to launch the program after the install runs. Once you get to the end of the install, click Finish and click Run Cura Lulzbot. This is just a normal Windows installation of a program, so I'm not going to go through the install. Lulzbot Edition is going to come up. It's going to take a little while to load. And it's going to load in here. The first time that you launch Cura Lulzbot Edition, it's going to look something like this. I've already launched it once before, so I've already selected a printer. But the first time you open this, if you don't have a printer selected, it'll bring up this menu with a list of different printers. Although it has Lulzbot in the name, you can use this version of Cura for other printers. It has profiles for Ultimakers and a number of other 3D printers. For this video, we're going to stick with the Lulzbot TAS6, but it's very easy to switch profiles between an Ultimaker, a Lulzbot, or any other printer that you'd like to use. So over here on the right are going to be your basic settings, your category, so that changes what your interface looks like and how it handles. We're going to leave it on all for now. The material, which is what material you're printing in. Right now it has ABS selected, but we're going to try and print in coffee PLA. PLA is one of the more common thermoplastics to print in, and it's also one of the cheapest, although this definitely isn't your cheapest PLA. So over here in recommended, this is the simplified view if you just want to get a print through, print it, and not change anything. I would say leave it in the recommended mode, but for this video we're going to go to custom because we want to show a few things. So now we need to import our model. So your model should be an STL file that you've exported from a CAD software or that you've downloaded on a website like Thingiverse or GrabCAD. So now that we have our print profile selected, we're going to want to import our file. So to do that, you go to File, Open Files, or click Ctrl-O. You're going to click on the file that you want to import. In our case, it's a 1-pound combat robot drum. We're going to open that, and then it's going to lay it down. This drum isn't in the orientation that we want to print it in. In order to fix that, we're going to click on the print, we're going to go to rotate, and we're going to rotate it 90 degrees along the x-axis. So this props it up. This is the optimal orientation to print it in because it requires the least amount of support material, and the layers will be strongest for the direction that we're spinning in. Now that we've imported our file, we're going to start going through the print settings and making sure that everything that we've set is going to be okay to go over to the printer. So the first thing over here on the left that we're going to look at is the material. So the material that we're printing in this case is going to be PLA. There's plenty of pre-built profiles here from a specific vendor, different materials, but if you'd like to know common speeds or temperatures to set for 3D printing, we'll have a link in the description below to a spreadsheet with some starting speeds and feeds. The profile, this is going to change the diameter of your tip as well as some speeds and as well as some travel speeds for your printer. We're going to leave it on the standard, but this is the diameter of the nozzle of your printer. One thing that you'll notice whenever I change something, Cura is going to automatically slice it. Other programs won't have this feature. Some, such as Prusa Slicer, you have to click a button to initiate the slicing, but Lulzbot Edition is going to do that automatically for us. Okay, so now we're going to reset back to the isometric view, and we're going to zoom in on our part. So let's say we wanted to see what the sliced file is going to look like. We're going to come up here to the View tab. Layer View is going to show us what the layers of our print look like. This slider on the right is going to take you through the different layers. So now, if you rotate by holding right click and dragging on the screen, we're going to be able to see the inside of our part, which has a grid, 3D printed grid inside of it. That grid is defined by the Infill tab. If you want to learn more about different print settings, we also have a video on that in the 3D printing playlist, so please check that out. So right now the infill pattern is set to lines. You can change this and use all sorts of different infill patterns. Concentric is an interesting one, but concentric will leave us with a very weak part. One other interesting part about Lulzbot Cura Edition is if you hit this play button, it'll show you how the print head will move. So this is the exact path that it's going to take when printing that layer. So this will only animate through that layer of the print, and then it'll stop. Or continue through the rest of the layers. I don't find that to be all that useful, but sometimes if it made a mistake, you'd be able to catch a crash. But that is very unlikely to happen. Okay, so once you select the infill, which you have, which we're going to go to grid for this one to give us a nice strong part. Once it goes to grid, you take a look at it, you make sure everything's okay. Then your file's all set to go. You save the G-code file to a flash drive or an SD card, and then you take that SD card over to your printer. And then your drum is ready to print.